Hello everyone and happy Friday. Welcome to the Mylio Photos coffee break. My name is Angela Andrew and today we're going to be talking about organizing video files in Mylio Photos. We talk a lot about obviously photos with Mylio Photos, but we don't spend a lot of time talking about videos, but everybody has them, especially in these days of mobile phones. We take little videos and there's tons of those kinds of things in our libraries that we want to be able to organize. So I'm going to show you how to do that today, what Mylio Photos is capable of. Before we jump into today's topic, I do want to let you know about all of the really cool events we have going on for you. Lori Rubin, my counterpart, she's helping out in the chat today, leads the first two programs there on the screen. She does weekly live sessions on importing, adding devices, sharing, and search. So if you have any specific questions about those topics, please feel free to jump into her sessions. She does a quick walkthrough and has open Q&A for those topics. Those are at 9:30 a.m. Pacific every single day, Monday through Friday. She also hosts a program called Ready, Set, Go, which is great for new users or maybe somebody who's taken a break from Mylio and just come back and needs a refresher. Check that out at mylio.com/readysetgo. Those are held Monday through Friday as well at 3 p.m. Pacific. I host live Q&As on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Those are available to anyone who's using Mylio, whether you're brand new or you're a seasoned user. Everyone is welcome, and I'll answer questions about Mylio, photography, organization, family history, editing, photo gear, kind of anything within that realm is fair game. It's definitely an Ask Me Anything. So please feel free to join those sessions, and I love the questions that we've been getting. I also host these coffee breaks every Friday. So what you're going to expect today is a short tutorial followed by open Q&A. So this week we're talking about videos. Next week we're going to be talking about scanned photos. So if you're in a project of scanning in some of those old family photos, or maybe even just scanning in your own pictures that you took when you were younger, pre-digital, this is a great way to learn how to organize those and get those integrated into your library. So we'll go into that next Friday. We also have our very last Picture Perfect Present session this afternoon at 2 p.m. Pacific. These sessions have been in partnership with Printique, who we've recently introduced an integration with. You can send images directly to Printique to get them printed very, very easily, and we've done an entire series on holiday gifts. And so today is our last one because we're kind of on that verge of so many shipping deadlines. Want to make sure you guys have all the ideas you need to get those holiday gifts made. And today we're going to talk about creating custom gift tags, which is a fun and kind of crafty session. So I hope you guys enjoy it and are able to come. If you're looking for other gifts, make sure you check out the Mylio gift cards. So if you have a friend or family member who has a mess of photos and you want to go ahead and help them get those cleaned up, give them the gift of Mylio. So when you buy a gift card, you actually get a couple of extra months on your subscription as well. So it's a win-win. There are also some great offers available for new users if you just go to mylio.com, check out our holiday promos. Lots of cool stuff there. With that, let's go ahead and jump into today's session, which is organizing family videos. And this is, I think, a topic that we've been asked for quite a lot because not only do people have photos in their media libraries, they have videos and other file types. And so I'm going to go through what Mylio can do with these video files and some of what it can't do. So you have the expectation of what what's possible. So today we're going to talk about what video files are supported, how to add and import videos, where are your videos stored and how are they synced between your devices, how to play videos in Mylio Photos, tips on organizing those videos and locating them. So let's go ahead and jump in and talk about supported video file types. So Mylio supports a ton of different file types. If you've ever gone into the manual, scroll down to the appendix at the bottom, you'll see that there's a section on supported cameras and supported file types. If you go into that one with supported file types, you're going to see a very long checklist of, I've lost count of how many different file types we support. But the most common video formats, MP4, AVI, MOV, and WMV are all supported, as well as several others that you might come across. So Mylio can handle a wide variety of video files. And if you're curious if your video file that you don't see listed here is supported, just go to manual.mylio.com and you can go down to the appendix and there's an entire section for supported cameras and supported video types. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about adding those files into Mylio Photos. It is so easy. It's exactly like adding any of the rest of your media. So if you have videos on your cell phone, let's say you're on your iPhone or Android, those are going into your media library on your phone, Mylio is going to actually automatically import if you have that connection enabled. So anytime I take a little video of my cats with my phone, anytime Mylio sees that there's a new file there, whether it's a picture or a video, it's going to automatically bring that in and put that in my Apple Photos or Android Photos folder in Mylio. If you have other video files, let's say you have a folder of videos from other sources, you can always just add that folder. You can link it, or you can copy or move it into your Mylio library just like you would any other file of media. And if you have just a single video that you want to go ahead and add, using the Mylio inbox is great. And I'm just going to jump over to my Finder here for just a second. And let's open up a new Finder window here. There we go. The Mylio inbox is this folder right here. And this is a great place to drop any files, photos, videos, or otherwise that you want to have in your Mylio Photos library, but maybe you don't want to import an entire folder. You just want to grab that one file. You can put that here into the Mylio inbox, and that's going to be here under your favorites on both Mac and Windows. So it's a great place to get stuff in there quick and makes it very, very easy. And that's going to be automatically added into your system whenever Mylio Photos is installed. And to find those once you're in Mylio, you're just going to go over to the folders view. Let's go to the top level here. And up here at the very top, we have our Mylio inbox right here. And so those are the same images that you saw in that folder in Finder, or if you're on Windows, in Explorer. So it's a great way, an easy way to drag and drop things into your Mylio Photos library. All right, let's go ahead and move on to how Mylio handles your videos and where they are stored once they're in Mylio. So when you bring things into Mylio, they're going to go into your folder system. So the way Mylio works is it does not physically hold your media. It points to where that media lives on your hard drive. So in the case of my Mylio inbox here, this is a physical folder that lives on my computer. And you can see that here in my Finder. Here's the Mylio inbox. It's the same with any video file you add into Mylio. That video file lives either on your computer or in one of your external hard drives. So when you're viewing videos in Mylio, you're going to see a thumbnail here. You can see in the little screenshot here on the right. That's going to be the first frame of your video. Now there are some workarounds to customize that. It's not super intuitive, but it is possible. And it involves using a display image, much like you do a display image when you do edits with third-party editors. So you can do that, but otherwise it's by default just going to pick up that first frame of the video. So you'll notice some of these are black or appear black. It's because that first frame of the video is black. And that's just the way Mylio works. As far as optimizations, you've probably heard us talk a lot about Space Saver. Well, Mylio does not have a video encoding engine, meaning it cannot change or modify your videos. So it's either going to be your original quality file or you're just going to have that thumbnail. There is no in-between of an optimized version that can be stored on your devices. So video files take up a lot of space. And so by default, they are not stored locally when you have Space Saver set. So your phones and typically your computers, your laptops, things like that are not going to have those video files stored locally. Even if you're on Space Saver, you're not going to have like a small version of that video because Mylio cannot re-encode video. However, when you bring them in, they are always saved to your vaults and they are accessible. So that brings me to being able to play the videos in Mylio Photos. The video file must be locally available. And what that means is either you need to be connected to one of your vaults, like a direct connection to a physical drive. If it's on a cloud drive that's available, it's going to have to pull down that file to the local location before it can play it. Same goes with your phones. If you're out and about in town and you're like, oh, I want to share this video with my friends, you're going to have to give Mylio time to either pull that file from your computer in a vault at home, or let's say you have Mylio Drive Plus to be able to pull it from your cloud storage. I had this actually happen. There's a funny video of my husband that I have from a vacation we took several years ago. And I happened to bring it up at one of his work events, and some of his coworkers were like, we have to see that video. And so I went into my phone. I was able to find it, which is great. There's so many search and find tools in Mylio. but it did take a few minutes for it to reach out to Mylio Drive Plus and pull that original quality file down and for us to be able to watch it. So that's something to consider when you're wanting to play videos on your phone. Now, if there are video files you always want to have available, you can tell Mylio to store those locally on your phone. Just know that it's going to take up a bit of extra space. So that's something to consider when you're playing those files. So once you're in Mylio here, if the file is available locally, you can just go ahead and click that play icon there at the bottom of the screen, and it's going to go ahead and play that video. All right, we're going to jump into organizing videos here, but let me take a look at the chat and see if there are any questions that are coming up so far. Looks pretty good. I don't see any hands up, so let's go ahead and continue. So with organizing your videos, you can do many of the same things you can do with your photos. You can move them around to different folders, so you can keep all of your videos in one place if you want, or you can integrate them into a date-based system with your photos and other media. It's completely up to you how you want to group those in your file system. You can also add them to albums, but one thing to note is if you use the shared album mechanism, so we've got this really cool tool where you can take an album and share it to a semi-private web page. Videos are not included in that upload. Again, that's because those uploads are optimized images. They're not your full quality original files. And so because Mylio can't do optimized video, it cannot send an optimized version of that video. And the storage space would just be enormous if we started storing video files online. So that's something to consider when you're creating an album. Just know when you're sharing it, it's not going to go and upload to a shared album. Now you can also add metadata to your video files, and this doesn't actually embed it to the file. It adds it to a sidecar XMP. Again, because Mylio cannot encode video, it cannot embed that metadata into the video file. If you wanted to do that, you would have to use a third-party tool. But as far as keeping things organized and accessible and finding things in Mylio Photos, I highly recommend updating those dates just like you would with your photos. Assigning people. So much like creating a manual face tag, you can do that with your video files. And that's how I've gone through and I've started working through some of my old family videos and adding in the people who are in those videos so I can find them very, very easily. You can add them to the map. So add GPS coordinates if you know where that video is taken. And you can even assign categories. So if you're making use of categories in your library, especially if you're sharing your library with other family members and using spaces, that can also make it so different people can see different videos in their library. So let's take a look at that real quick here in Mylio and add some information to a set of videos. So I'm going to go to my All Photos view. And the first thing I want to do is find some video files. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my sidebar here. We're going to go into our smart filters, and I've already got by file open. I'm going to go ahead and close that so you can see what it looks like. We're going to go to by file and under by file type, and we're going to choose videos. And that's going to filter my library to every video file in my library. So here's a cool video. This one is just my husband and I. We were on a ferry. We were out for a bicycle ride. For those of you who've never been to San Diego, there is a ferry that goes between downtown San Diego and Coronado, which is, they call it an island, but it's technically a peninsula. And you can actually ride down the peninsula and back up the mainland and then take the ferry back over. It's a really great ride. And if you are visiting in San Diego or you live in this area, check that out. But that's what we were doing this day. So I took a video while we're out there. It's just a very short video. And you can see there we are on the boat. I'm going to go ahead and stop that so you don't hear the noise of the engine of the boat. But it's just a very short video, and I can do a couple of things to this. Now, it probably already has GPS information because I took this with my phone. You can see here at the top, actually, it is listing the location. But I do want to tag my husband in this. And faces aren't recognized like they are in pictures. So the AI photo recognition in Mylio only works with still photographs. But in a video, you have multiple frames, so it's hard to kind of pinpoint exactly where a person is. But what you can do is associate a file with a person. So instead of here under known people, what you would do is go down here to other people, click that plus, and then you can type in a name. And there's my husband right there. And now I have associated that video with his name. If I go over to the people view, and I'm going to go ahead and click out of, I can leave videos open. That actually makes it easy. And go into his collection. There is that video underneath his name. So it makes it really, really easy to find. So you can add all sorts of information. I have different videos of my cats and different people in my life. I have stuff that is old family videos. So this one here, actually, I think it's the only video I have, only media I might have with Thomas Evans. This is my great grandfather. And there are, he shows up in this video. And because of research my dad did and notes that he made, I am able to go through and say, okay, in this video, who's here? I can go down here into people. And there are 9 people that I've identified in this video. So it's a great way to further organize and be able to locate videos and preserve some of that information, because especially with old home movies, knowing who's in those movies is what makes those really special, especially once they go on to the next generation. So the videos that I have here in my library, if I go ahead and click on this and show them in the folder, most of these are before my time. There's a couple of them that I am in very, very little, but like here, this is me and my dad and this one right here. But most of these are before my time, and a good portion of them, I don't know who these people are. I can recognize some of them, but not all of them. So I'm fortunate my dad made a bunch of notes as to who's in these videos. And so I'm slowly working through adding that information down here in the people section so I can associate those videos with the people who are actually in them. And to me, that's a very valuable use of my time. And because it's saved to an XMP file, that information can, in a sense, travel with that video. You do want to make sure you don't separate the video file from that XMP, but it does stay there. So it is preserved. All right, let's go ahead and jump back over here to the presentation. And I think locating videos, we already talked briefly about this. And we talked about the quick filters, finding things by file type and by video. If you are looking for a specific file extension, so you have a certain format of video you're looking for, you can also do that. So let's go back over here to all photos. And instead of being over here under by file type, I'm going to go ahead and unpin that, close that up, and let's just go back to the grid view here. We can go by file extension. And there are a lot of different file extensions. So here's AVI, that's a video file type. Those are really old pictures from an old Nikon digital camera that my husband and I had when we went to Paris many years ago. I also have MOVs, and a lot of those are the old home movies that were digitally converted. I've got MP4s. Those are going to probably be mostly from my iPhone. And there's probably some WMVs in here too. Actually, maybe I don't have any of those, but those are Windows media. So depending on what platform you're on, you might have a mix of different types of video files. If you want to find specific ones, doing that by file extension is the way to go. All right. So I think that covers everything that I wanted to share with you about organizing video files. The thing to know is it's very much like organizing your photos. There's a few different little caveats as far as, how Mylio handles them and where they're stored, and the fact that it doesn't optimize videos, and it doesn't, like if you make any changes in Mylio and do an export like you would with a photo, it doesn't create an embedded copy of those changes. So those are just some of the things to know as you work with video files, but it's just so cool to me that we can have all of our photos and videos in one place. We can add all of that important information and preserve it for the future. And to me, that's what this is all about. All right, let's take a look here. I don't see any other questions. Oh, here's one from Lisa. If I moved a video from one folder to another, does Mylio automatically drag the XMP with the video? Yes, it does. Great question. All right, Steve says, I did not know a lot of this about video files. Well, I'm glad you were able to be here, Steve, and I'm glad it was helpful. Mike, you have a question.
Hey, Angela. Yeah. So I've always run into this problem a lot where I'm trying to show somebody a file on my phone, a video file, and tells me it can't play it. Now, I understand why that happens. I'm just trying to manage my expectations for Mylio Drive Plus. So the icon will always be there, even though I can't play it, right? I can still
Mm-hmm.
see the icon for the video. So if I've got my phone, the video is not on my phone, it's on my Vault, for example. I've got Mylio Drive Plus.
Mm-hmm.
How long are you, say a 15-second video, how long are you waiting for something like that?
A 15-second video should download pretty quick, assuming you've got a good fast data connection. And so the data connection you have is really going to be kind of the key there. The plan that I'm on has unlimited data, but once I hit a certain threshold, it starts to throttle me. So, and I'm on a family plan, so it depends on how many people in my family have been, heavily using the data. I might be at a point in the cycle where I'm being throttled. So it can go from being really pretty quick to late in the month, it might be a little bit slower. And if you have a lower, less expensive data plan, that can take a little while longer as well. But
Okay,
that's the biggest barrier right there.
the bottom line is if I've got Mylio Drive Plus, it's up there. I just have to get it down whatever
Correct.
data connection I've got. Okay,
Yeah,
thank
and the
you.
best way to do that is if you go ahead and find that file, go to the three dots here in the bottom right, the actions menu, and just say download originals. So before you even try to play it, do that and then give it a few minutes, then try to play it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's see here. Lou says I skipped his question. Let's see here. Maybe I'm just scrolling too fast. There we go. I'll be replacing my current laptop, which is my primary source for using Mylio, with a new laptop. Congratulations. Once I do the replacement, what do I have to do to pick up where I left off with Mylio? So, Lou, your best scenario is going to be as long as you have at least one vault, ideally two or more, all you need to do is get your new laptop, install Mylio Photos, log in with your account, plug in one of your vaults to your new computer, and let it sync. That's it. You're still going to be able to go into Mylio, and you're going to see that exact same folder structure that you've been seeing, and you'll be able to pick up right where you left off. It is so incredibly easy. Now, if you have a bunch of linked folders and you have a very specific way that you need to work with your media, I'd have to give you a little bit more customized advice on that. Or you might want to reach out to support if you have something very unique in your setup. But in general, if you've got a vault and you're getting a new computer, you install Mylio on the new computer, plug in your vault to the new computer, and you're off and running. All right, let's see what else we've got here. And let's see here. Darren says, thank you. I also discovered new video management info. Awesome. I like the difference between the stills and video files. I mentioned that it has a separate XMP from the video file. What does that look like, please? All right, let's take a look. I'm going to go to some of my old home movies here. And there's those Evans films. And I know pretty sure this one here I have added, okay, I've added names to this one. So if I go ahead and right click on this and I reveal an external, let's go ahead and pull that up on my vault. This vault is a little bit slow, so it might take a moment for it to read. But it's going to go ahead and load up, and it's going to be just an XMP file sitting next to your original file. And if we open that up, you can open it up with a text editor, or you can open it up with something like XF Tool. And it's going to be those same fields that you have with any other image file. So there's the XMP. Let's go ahead and open with, and let's go other. And just do search. Text edit. There we go. And there we go. That's what the XMP file looks like for a video. We can see here there's the names that I've added. And just one other thing to note, because we're not adding a specific face tag, we're just associating a name with that file, there's not a region tag. So in a photograph where Mylio detects a face, or you place a tag for a face on a specific part of the image, that will actually flag a region in a photo. You can't do that with a video in Mylio. So that's one thing good to note. Here's the create date, the modify date. I don't have the actual date that this video, or a date range, because especially with home movies, very rarely were they all captured on one day. Sometimes one reel could have footage from over a year. So that's stuff that I still need to get in here, but you would have your dates here. And it's all of the same stuff that you would have with your photos. Did you have any other questions, Darren?
Yeah, sorry. Thank you. Thanks for this. I wasn't expecting you to go to look at the XMP file. I might not have written my question properly. What I was trying to say was, but this is a good bonus. If you mentioned earlier about if you separate the XMP file from the video file, I don't know what I was trying. What sort of scenario would that be, for example?
Well, so I would say something like later on. So most of you here know that XMPs are important. Are not going to go through and
Mm,
start just trashing your XMPs.
mm,
However, the next person who inherits your files might not understand what an XMP file is. And if they were to go, oh, what are all these? They're just text files. I'm going to throw them away. Well,
I
then all
see.
of this information would be lost.
I understand. Okay. Okay. No,
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, because you mentioned earlier, just don't separate them. And I was thinking, oh, how would that? Because if you did copy them or move them within Mylio, they would move together. Is that right?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Angela. Fantastic.
You're
Another good
welcome.
video. Thank you. Oh, webinar. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. So Lou says, I do have photos on my computer and folders that are linked. So those are the ones I'm concerned about. So if you want those to be relinked on the new computer and operate with them in the same way, Lou, that's what I would recommend going to support about. However, what you can do is all of those same folders that are linked, they also exist on your vault. So you don't necessarily need to recreate them on the new computer. You can access them here. So what you would see is, let's say your old computer is, an Intel Mac. So you've got it says hit here, 2019 Intel Mac. And it's going to say once you've moved on and it's a linked folder, it'll say 2019 Intel Mac. If you've unregistered it, it's going to say removed. But those same linked folders are still going to be here available. And because your vault has them, all of that media, even if you unregister that computer, is still available. Now, if you want to physically move those folders to the new computer and have them be relinked from the same location, that's where things can get a little tricky and you might want to reach out to support. But in my opinion, for most people, that's going to be completely unnecessary, and working with them in this way is going to be so much easier, and it's going to save you a lot of moving things around. It's just going to be simple. So does that answer your question, Lou? Feel free to unmute. All right, perfect. All right, and I don't see any other hands up. Are there any other questions today? All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for being here. This was a fun session, and I'm really glad we're able to tackle some of these things and give out some information that's not necessarily something we talk about all the time, but I know it's very important to you because we all have video files. I do want to remind you that we've got our last Picture Perfect Present session this afternoon at 2 p.m. Pacific. We're going to create some gift tags. We're going to get a little crafty, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I've really loved everything about this series. If you've missed any of them, you can catch them in the community. The recordings are there. Lori has been fantastic about getting those recordings up, typically the same day that they happen. So that's been pretty cool. Also, make sure you check out our Q&As next week, the Ready, Set, Go, all of those things. And then just looking a little bit further ahead, Lori and I will be off the week of Christmas and New Year's. So there will not be any live events during that time. Mylio will still be operating and functioning. There will still be support and things like that. But we will not be having any live events because you guys need to be out there spending time with your friends and family. So with that, I want to wish you guys a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you again for joining me. Thank you, Lori, for helping out in the chat. And we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.